Leadership11.com.
Welcome to Leadership Role. I'm your host, Dr. Kitty, and today we're going to be looking at the top 5 troop weapons in 40K. So the idea behind this is not counting psychic powers or units that become troops because of an upgrade, or weapons that cost points to upgrade. So free upgrades are alright. So basically I'm not looking at, say, Pink Horrors or Wraith Guard or things like Deathwing Terminators. Although, yeah, no, not really. So, of course, this is opinion, so it's not like it's set in stone. I'm sure that if you actually took a poll, I'm probably dead wrong. But, this is kind of why you have a podcast, is going to throw out your opinion. So let's just do this. So at number 5, I decided to go with the Storm Bolter. Now, Grey Knights get these as basic weapons, and it pretty much edges out every other bolter type thing from like the Battle Sisters or any of the Space Marine armies, simply because it's Assault 2, 24 inches, and that it's the same as a bolter. It's Strength 4, AP 5. It's really good. It's pretty much your staple weapon. It's just Assault 2 instead of Rapid Fire. And I think that really just edges it out. For number 4, I went with the Dire Avenger Shuriken Catapults from Eldar. Now, I guess you could kind of maybe like at a 4.5 count the catapults for Guardians, just because they should be able to get more of them. But I kind of wanted to keep it to the better of the two. And they have a longer range, they're 18. And with their Blade Storm rule where they get rending now, they're pretty much a bolter that's also Assault. It's Assault 2. Same Strength 4, AP 5, but it then has, on a roll to 6, it's AP 2 against creatures with wounds. Doesn't do anything against vehicles, but it's a big upgrade. I've played against these a number of times, and they are just nasty. Especially if you consider the potential of the Eldar Psychers to cause the squad to reroll to hit and possibly reroll to wound against a particular squad that's been doomed. But I didn't really consider that for the criteria. Otherwise, I probably would have placed it much higher, because as they call it, bolter dump of Dire Avengers on a doomed squad when they're guided is just devastating. You should wipe them out, really. Or they're going to be really hurting either way. So my number 3 slot is actually shared with 2 guns from the same race. The Tesla Carbines from the Necron Immortals, and the basic Gauze Flare from the Necron Warriors. The reason I put these higher than the Shuriken Catapults, for instance, is that the Carbines are, again, rapid fire, but on a roll of a 6 to hit, they generate 2 more hits. So, standalone, not considering psychic powers, I feel that they have the potential to deal with infantry a little bit better, especially when they're in big groups. But they're also Strength 5, so they're a little bit better, but they don't have any AP. So more wounds, forcing more saves, it's kind of up in the air. The God's Flare, on the other hand, is a bolter gun, basically. It's Strength 4, AP 5, but it has the ability to, on a 6 for armor penetration, remove a hull point from a vehicle. Now, that in and of itself isn't like the greatest thing ever, but it gives the Necron Warriors the ability to destroy tanks where they shouldn't be able to. In their older book, they were able to take close combat versions of this rule. I think they're called disruption fields or something like that. And it was kind of like giving them grenades, which again they couldn't take and they can't take now. They did downgrade this rule from the previous codex. They also used to be able to wound anything on a 6 regardless of toughness. But that rule's out. They're just strength 4. Yeah, if you're Necron, you just have to deal with it, I guess. But I really think that these guns are really great against any sort of mechanized enemy. And they have the potential to take down things like wave serpents simply from weight of fire. It's potential, granted, but I have lost more than one dreadnought from Overwatch for Necron warriors. So maybe I'm a little colored in that regard, but I think they're really awesome weapons. So the number 2 spot, same weapon shared by 2 different armies. It's kind of cheating, I guess. It's the sniper rifle. The Eldar Rangers carry them, of course. They just come with them. But Space Marine Scouts can take them. The Blood Angel Scouts take them for free. I know this. I believe Space Marines do pay a point for them. So my previous criteria, they wouldn't actually count. But the Space Marine Sniper Scouts look awesome. So I think they should count anyway. But really it's more about the weapon, because either way, the Eldar Rangers get it. And it's a heavy weapon. It's 36-inch range. It has the sniper rule, so and they're only AP 6, I believe. So they always wound a target on a 4, but on a 6, it's rending. So they have rending, and it's actual rending, unlike the shuriken catapults. So it does work against vehicles, and that is, again, I think more flexible tactically. So I think it belongs up higher. And really the only reason why I think it's higher than, say, the Gauss Flare or the Tesla Carbine is because of the range. You outrange them, and it's a significant advantage. Now, if you do consider the troops that use these, if you do go with the Marine Scouts or the Eldar too, they do have Infiltrate. The Marine Scouts have Scout, which would give you a redeployment after the Infiltrate. So that adds to their mobility. And of course, in the current edition, as you can move and still fire heavy weapons, albeit on a 6 to hit with the ballistic skill 1 for snap shooting, it I think adds to their usefulness as opposed to earlier editions where if they moved at all, they were just not shooting. So that wasn't the greatest. Both the Eldar and the Marine Scouts do come with a pistol of some kind. So I guess if you're going to set this up by race, the Eldar are definitely closer to the 1 slot than the Marines are. So the Marines are looking at more like, a 2.5-ish rather than an actual 2. Or maybe the Eldar are actually like a 1.5-ish, depending. I actually considered putting this up top, except for if you use them in practice, the Eldar ones are great. However, I find that wounding on 4s, even with the threat of rending, isn't that awesome. But you do also have the part of the sniper rule is if you roll a 6 to hit, of course, you get a precision shot. So you can choose somebody in the unit to force a save if that precision shot wounds. And that's where it's just really dicey. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes, no. Now, the number 1 slot, I think, I feel like it should be obvious if you haven't heard it yet. But it's the Tau Pulse Rifle carried by the Fire Warriors. And the reason why I put it up top is, whereas it doesn't have the greater range of the sniper rifles or the rending, again, I think you could put it up there. It's also not a heavy weapon, so if it moves, they do hit on normal ballistic skill. And they do have a 30-inch range, and they're strength 5, AP 5. They now and then if you think about how the armies work together, sure the Eldar do have the Doom and Guide and things like that, and Tau have marker lights. So I really think it's kind of a fighting for it's a fighting for the top spot here. Like I said, the sniper rifle, at least for the Eldar, might be a 1.5 more than a 2, but that's what I'm going with. I think the Tau pulse rifle is the number one basic troop weapon in 40k, which is funny because the old Fire Warrior video game, it was pretty much garbage. Didn't do anything. It's terrible. So just to recap, number 5, I have the Stormbolter from the Grey Knights. Number 4, Shuriken Catapults by the Dire Avengers for the Eldar. Tesla Carbines / Gauze Flares tied for 3rd with the Necron Immortals and Warriors. Number 2 was the Sniper Rifles, Eldar Rangers, Marine Scouts. And number 1 is the Tau Pulse Rifle, King of the Battlefield, and the way I see it. So, if you disagree with my list or have opinions of your own, which I really hope you do, go ahead and send them over to Leadership 11. We'll take a look, and maybe we'll put up a poll and we can have like the Golden Gun Awards or something. I don't know. But this has been Dr. Kitty, and I will talk to you guys later.